I just.
I would be lost without movie timers. So I was just kind of looking at what you guys wrote, and I think people wrote a lack of training, that fear of the unknown, that component of working with families where it's collaborative and consistent, so that what's happening in the classroom also happens at home. And someone wrote the teaching component. I mean, sometimes it is challenging when you're working with children who are at a certain level, and then you're needing to modify that educational piece for the child who maybe is at a different developmental level, and that too takes a lot of intention and planning. And the other thing I have to say with regards to special education is we can't forget about kids who are gifted too. I mean, that's kind of the other gamut. And I have to say that's where my experience came with my kids, was spending a lot of time where she was literally just picking her nose at school because there was nothing for her to do, because no one was modifying anything to meet her needs. And I felt like some of those legislative pieces often get focused on children who are lagging behind, but don't always address children who are far ahead. Like, what are we doing for those kids too? Because ultimately they can end up having challenging behavior too because they're bored. So that education piece really comes into play when you're trying to balance this wide spectrum of abilities and developmental stages. And then kind of overarching themes I saw with the strategies were resources, that information-based people to talk to, the training to get. Those are the kinds of things that can help overcome these challenges. I really liked how I wrote a wagon with a handle, because they obviously have someone who has an oxygen tank, and empowering that person to be responsible for their own oxygen tank.
Walking it, so it was like, rather than me following one-on-one, it was, let's do the wagon.
Yeah. And that's kind of what Vanessa touched on, and we'll get into more. What things are you having to spend so much time doing for everyone that you can actually give to the kids? Those jobs that can be, you can be the water helper, you can be the snack passer out, you can be our schedule helper and keep things, you can pass out the pillows. There's a lot of jobs that when you think about it can free up a lot of time for you when we start delegating or just thinking out of the box of some ways we could integrate those things in the classroom. So I see collaboration, and I see a lot of working together, which I think ultimately is the best strategy. Putting all of our resources and our minds together. No one has to pretend to know it all. All right, let's move on. So this is the part where we kind of talk about the leadership team and what kind of role they play in inclusion, which is a powerful one. And I realize not all of you are in that role, but I know Molly and Amber are getting their masters, and they may one day be in that role. You have aspirations to do that at your workplace, which is awesome. So these are the kinds of things, though, but I'll stress that it says collaborative. It's not just a principal of a school. It's not just one director of a preschool. It's not just you running your own home daycare, but you can tap into other people to collaborate with to provide a commitment to inclusion. That vision of what it's going to look like, you're already identifying these challenges and what kinds of things you need in order to overcome them. When it comes to staffing, do you need a pair? Do you need someone else to help you on the days when that child comes and maybe it's too overwhelming with that many kids? Additional training and coaching, what kind of plans, what kind of data you can collect to evaluate where your weaknesses are in your program and what you need to focus on to make it stronger. And then that data component. So for the administrative and leadership people, what they can do for everyone is really set that tone. That their attitude is going to trickle down to everyone else. And if you feel positive about it, you feel like you can do it, it's just a matter of getting more information and training. You'd be surprised how many people jump on board. And And that attitude change goes from the staff, it can go everywhere. Vanessa and I were just doing a presentation to the bus drivers at Jeffco. They feel overwhelmed and a little left out of some of these things, but they're having to deal with them while driving a bus to make it even more complicated. So including all these ancillary people who are still working with kids but don't have the resources and the knowledge as well. And making sure that you do see the change, watching those outcomes and just taking those next steps. You might have a big long goal of where you want to be, but you're just taking the steps to get there one step at a time. And like Amber was saying, developmentally everybody changes, and once you think you've got it figured out, the kids go and mature and try new things and you got to figure it out again. This kind of touches on the same thing, that vision. What can the leadership do to support everyone? Putting those policies and procedures in place, writing it down so it's documented. Making sure that we're all accountable to the children and the parents by using best practices. And supporting people, whether you're getting training for yourself if you're an in-home provider, or organizing that training for your staff if you're in a leadership position. And finding ways to evaluate it, and if you need help finding those people who you can collaborate with to get more information. I remember we had a really powerful speaker come in and talk to us about boys. You saw that in that data that Vanessa presented, boys were one of the biggest percentage of expulsion rates. And we did a whole long training about boys and how they do bond, and it was really interesting. And it really did change the way we had a relationship with boys in the classroom. So just offering that additional training can really sometimes just be that little switch you need. So this is the second part of that activity where we talked about the challenges and strategies. If you look at handout 2.9, it says part 2. And this is something we're going to work in small groups. And I think it's okay to just stay at your tables if you'd like. If you'd like to partner up, feel free. You're going to take one challenge and one strategy. I mean, it's a little bit of what we've been doing. What are some of the practical implications of inclusion at the program or community level? And one of the strategies. And what you're going to do is, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to pair you guys up because we need a little bit more people. This is kind of a role-playing activity, so you can get it in character. But how about you two tables work together and your two tables work together? So you're going to pretend or act as a cross-agency team. You might choose to be someone from the school district, Head Start. You might be a child care provider, one of the family members. You're going to pick one challenge that you're going to work on, and then wearing those hats of the person that you're representing, you're going to kind of figure out how you might all work together to strategize about how you would solve that problem. So I think this is taking it to the next level where we've realized that there's challenges and strategies, but now we're going to approach it from that collective effort where we're all chipping in to solve the problem. How can the families participate? How can the child care providers participate? How could an agency representative, maybe it's Child Finder, Head Start, what can they do to put it together? And if you feel like being super crazy, I made some little props that if you choose to represent yourself, feel free to get into character. So I'll leave these out if you feel like being silly, just to liven it up. But we're going to work together. I'll let you go ahead and identify what role you'd like to have, and then you will report back to the group after you, we'll take each of you and just kind of quickly report back what you decided. Let me make sure I get everything. Do you guys have questions? This is our first role play, so it's a little different.
So we just have to come up with a problem?
Come up with a problem, and then the group will solve it. You can pick somebody to the recorder and somebody to report back to the bigger group, but you can decide what role you want. Problems? And it'll come around the topics of what we've been talking about, the policy and procedure, or it can be attitudes and beliefs.
I need help with this. very aggressive, like very
Let's
aggressive.
say, I'll start with 5 and see how you guys are feeling after 5, okay?
And her brother is 5 years old, is very submissive, very